I want to show you how to avoid a look like this, where it's just a bunch of tables and chairs throughout your room, and how to use banquettes and fixed furniture to divide up your room. It's really quite important not to have just a open room. Yes, of course, you can be successful and it can work, but this just adds more interest to your space, gives more zones for other people in there. It's just another one of those 1, 2, 3%ers that just make your restaurant, cafe, bar better and more enjoyable to be in. So I'm sure this place is fine and maybe it does some sales, but in my mind and from my expertise, this could be a whole lot better. So just let me click through a few of these. This is one thing I just put on there. I'm not just some guy with a bunch of opinions. I've designed hundreds and hundreds and hundreds, over 500 restaurants, cafes, and bars. I've owned 4 of my own. I've been in the industry for 20 years. There's all sorts of stuff on the internet about me. You can find it. But I just like to show you this to show this is based on experience, not I think this. Yeah, if you look at that top image, it's just furniture put in a room, and it can feel a bit ad hoc, a bit amateur. And again, if you've got an awesome product and there's not much competition, people will still use you, and it's not a be all and end all, but it adds another dimension to your space and a level of comfort and a level of professionalism, which will just level you up. And it doesn't have to cost 20, 30, 40, 50, 100 grand to do it, which it would cost through like a professional millwork or joinery and upholstery company. But you can achieve these sort of looks either using a carpenter, or if you're still in the DIY stage, doing that. And you can kind of pull it all together by not just getting those upholstery professionals and banquette people to make it, which it will cost you a lot of money. So you can get your carpenter, or you can put together these sort of frames, and like this is 2x4 timber or 45x90, wherever you are in the world. And depends what shape of banquette you want, right? Like this could just be a bench seat and you put one of these back squabs on here that are in these images, or you can have a proper back on it. Obviously, the more complicated you try and get, the upholstery gets a bit more technical. And when you look at your reference images and what you're trying to complete, and you'll have to look at some tutorials online and on how to pull together the squabs and the seats. Once you start adding more details, and it gets more complex and it becomes more obvious if it's not at a professional level. So try keep things relatively simple. It doesn't mean it doesn't have to look great. Like if we look at this one down here, this is a pretty simple the curves are relatively complex. You might not want to curve that thing off. You can still kind of achieve it in the exposed stitching up here. You can buy and I'll talk about this in a second, you can buy your furniture foam and take it off you can find some local sewer somewhere and they can put it together for you, as opposed to giving it to a banquette fixed furniture company, a booth company. So these sort of dimensions is what you can use. You got basically you're sitting at kind of 450 mil high is your standard kind of seat height. You might make it 500 mil and then have it for the cushioning. It'll drop down to about 450. So from an inches and feet point of view, that'll be like 18 inches total, and you might make it 20 inches, and then it will drop down a little bit depending how firm your cushion is. And you want to make sure there's a soft layer of cushion on the top. If you want to go next level, you can get the firm cushion, then put a thin amount of a couple of inches of a softer cushion on top of it to make it a bit softer. But in simple form, it's basically this stuff here, right? It's cut foam, and then if you put a ply board on the bottom and you wrap it around and then you use a staple gun to staple it on, you've got a pretty simple version of that. If you want to start getting into those other details, like you can just see it here on this image, those exposed kind of pipe edges, and here the stitching's kind of nice, then find a cheap and cheerful sewing person who's able to achieve this, and they'll be able to do it for you. They're out there. I've used them before. And so you can make these frames or carcasses, out of that 2x4 wood, or you can use like 20 mil ply and do that, and you can put it together with a drill and some nails and screws and whatever. Like just construct it kind of like that. Put your cushion on top, and then you put whatever finish on the front of, like, down the base here, and on any back parts. Like, these guys have got vinyl and then some timber going over the joins, and these guys have got some tile going in there and then a paint finish above it. It's not overly complex stuff that, yeah, you can put together by getting a tiler or doing the tiling yourself. Your contractor can, yeah, obviously build it, or you can build it, and you or your 18-year-old cousin can paint it. That's just an example of just how cost-effective these materials can. Obviously, some piece of lumber or timber, some standard cushioning foam, some fabric, and some tiles, right? You can really shave a lot of money off these things by doing it in a 80-20 sort of approach, where you're getting 80% of the result with 20% of the cost. Yes, if you look very, very closely, it might not look 100% professional, but in a busy space that has like a lot going on, no one notices it. Unless you're in fine dining, where maybe the approach is slightly different. The vast majority of restaurants, cafes, and bars don't need that level of detail. It's not going to give you more sales. Like, if you look at this yellow thing here, this looks good. And that's a simple folded over a base onto that plywood sort of experience. Keep it tight, keep it neat. Try and keep the sizes relatively small so it doesn't get like loose and floppy in the middle if you do it over a big expanse. But you know, you do it in sections like this and you pull them tight, and you can paint it a color. Like, you know, these guys have painted a nice orangey, reddy color, got some nice, you know, velvety type fabric, and these guys have used a leather or a fake leather. And you can put these things together, or a carpenter can, or, you know, a handy person can. So you don't need the best of the best. You can achieve, like I said, 80% with 20% of the effort. I put these in the videos. I'm not looking to overly sell you, but I believe I can truly help operators. And I've done it lots of times. I can teach you these sort of concepts, but also largely your bigger picture concepts, and then how to use SketchUp, like a 3D modeling software, to try these things out, so that you're trying them out before you go off and make these things. You see it fits in the space, it looks right, everything works together, and it's not overly complex. I can teach you it all in about 4 weeks. Of course, it's a skill that you have to work at, and, you know, it's not magic. But yeah, I'll put a link to like a sales page in there. I'll also put a link to a calendar invite where you can book a call with me if you really want to like have a talk through, and I can show you around. But yeah, try it out, have a look at that website. I've got guarantees on it in the sense that I'll give you your money back if it, excuse me, it doesn't work. But yeah, I'd really like to help you with this. I'm very passionate about helping restaurant, cafe, and bar operators, because this was me years ago, opening them, struggling, failing, spending so much money getting it wrong, you know, not getting the best advice out of designers. And I truly think this is a real solution where I can help you save, $100,000 on building out a space. So hopefully that comes across in this video, and yeah, click that link below or watch another one of the videos that are on my profile.